Hello and thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangouts. I'm Ayodele Ozubakum. Today on the program, Fashola reveals that more than 500 roads need rehabilitation in Nigeria, says lack of funds hinder road construction. Nigerian Governors Forum reveals recently signed national minimum wage agreements, says consequential increments will depend on capacity of each state. And later on the show, 10 months after Supreme Court judgment, Ekiti State Government orders relocation of Ilejemeje Council headquarters. How we'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Janet Mba Afolabi. And so if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, has reiterated that without funds, a project as grand as road construction cannot be done, disclosing that there are over 500 roads across the country requiring rehabilitation. Fashola identified lack of funds as the bane of poor road network in the country. While interacting with the Joint Committee of the National Assembly during the 2020 budget defense, the minister stated that since the federal government included only critical roads with economic value for attention in the proposal, the possibility of constructing new roads is ruled out. Jide, Fashola is saying something here now. I think because of paucity of funds, from what he's saying now, that they have to look at those strategic roads that they have economic value, and which I'm sure will be decided across the geopolitical zones. So there's almost no hope for other projects that might not be too viable economically. That means the federal government cannot have solution to bad roads in 2020.
No, it looks like we do not have an answer to bad roads. State governments want to fix those roads. We are telling them, no, don't touch my roads. That's the way the president described those roads. But they are not his roads in the real sense. They are Nigerian roads. They belong to all of us. So he has told them, don't touch my roads unless you are prepared to do those roads for free. Now, I could, as a governor, agree to fix a federal road for free. But you must give me the go-ahead to toll it. If, for example, a Kayode Fayemi decides to fix the road from Akure to Ado-Ekiti,
Okay.
because most people prefer to travel through that road to access the state capital, it then means that for the efforts that he has made, you should allow him to toll the road. Otherwise, how does the state benefit? Because that road does not belong to the state government.
Limited funds.
Yes.
Take limited funds for
You use limited funds to fix federal roads that are begging for attention, that have been neglected by the federal government, that has so much, that it has taken much more than it can chew. And then you are saying, no, they should not expect to be reimbursed. Yes, when the president came in, there were piles and piles of debts, old states for fixing roads within their states. And the president cleared a lot of them. But the truth is, even after doing that, roads remain in substantially bad state. Do we then refuse to do anything about those roads? Because those governors use those roads too. For example, if you are driving, you want to access Ekiti State through Kogi, you see the kind of roads that can make you run mad. If you are driving from Egbe,
outside
Egbe,
states.
yes, the better roads are in Ekiti, not in Kogi. This is a fact. If you are driving from Egbe, which is like a border town between Kogi and Kwara, you are driving from Egbe deep into Kogi, you will experience nightmares. So, should a state governor, knowing what his own people are going through, then refuse to fix the road? This is the dilemma. I met a governor. In short, I met the governor of Taraba State, and I said, see, the distance between Yola
and
that
thing should be like 1 hour drive.
Yes,
ordinarily.
It's not a long journey.
Yola
But the road, some
Terrible
portions of
roads.
that road can swallow your vehicle.
Terrible.
It's the same thing with the normal road. So these roads, we just need to fix these roads. And if the state government say, okay, they want to fix the road, you must find a way to agree that, yes, you can go ahead and fix this road. If you do not have enough, on a graduated basis, you can pay back what these people have spent on roads. Because they can't all, I mean, the federal government and the state government can't all leave those roads in the state that they are. Ayo, the truth is, Fashola talks about a funding gap that he actually wanted 255 billion. But nobody has given him 255 billion for his ministry in the current budget. How do you then fix those roads? You have the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. They have spent about 90 billion already. They've been told that they must deliver that road in 2020, which means that in this budget, they will be looking to spend maybe between maybe 100 to 120. And of course, the...
Still on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway?
Yes.
Wow.
And you still have the second Niger Bridge. That one too is a critical road that they need to fix. So how much is left for him to fix roads? So those two roads that we are talking about, the second Niger Bridge and Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, can consume all of what has been allocated to him in the budget.
Yes, so the economic value.
Yes, no, they have economic value,
because
but we can't leave all
that's
the
the only
roads.
road that leads to the east. That's second Niger road.
Yeah, the most significant road that leads to this. There are other roads.
Okay,
you can access the east even through Benue and other places.
Okay, through the north. Oh, from the south.
Yes,
from southwest.
the most significant road that leads to the east. You are right about that, and we can't leave it like that. It's the main artery. But the point that I'm making is, given the fact that he has not, you cannot find, Fashola has more than 300,000 kilometers of bad roads to fix. He will never find the money to fix those roads.
300,000?
Yes, he knows it. This is a fact. He will never find the money to fix those roads, except we get the states to assist, or we
private partnership.
We do private what is public-private partnership, which in any case they could then deliver the road to us after a few years when they have made their money.
Janet, I don't know. Because if we are talking about tolling again, people will kick. But at least I have examples in Lagos. But they are not so pleasant examples, because some people will tell you that they are still groaning. But that road, that particular road, I go through it maybe almost on a monthly basis. I don't experience potholes, smooth rides. My shocks cannot be in trouble and everything. The one from Lekki, Link Bridge, down to Bodylon here, you pay. Good road.
Fantastic.
The one from Oriental Hotel here down to Lekki Aja axis, good roads, you pay. So, but Nigerians are complaining because for a car, I think it's 120. So when I'm coming, I budget like 240 through and fro. If you drive SUV, you do more than that. So are we going to go to tolling? It's obvious that governments don't have money to fix our roads.
No.
Tolling is out of it, Ayo. And tolling on what roads? Because there are three categories of roads. You have the Chunk A roads, which is the federal government roads. You have the Chunk B roads, which are the state government roads. And you have the Chunk C roads, which are local government. And the highest is local government with 67% of those roads. So it is not surprising that the worst roads are found in local governments. The federal government has just 18% of total number of roads, and the state
but
has
the major roads.
But they are the major. They are the
this one,
express.
they want to show it's a federal government road.
Yes,
That's the Ekpoma road.
they
like this now, from what you're saying.
This
is
is
a disaster.
Ekpoma road. This is a federal road.
This is
This is the
government.
government. This is the road
Yes.
that the governor of Edo was lamenting about
Yes.
the other day.
that is not the only place. If you are going to Abuja by road, By the time you get to Ibilo, the Okene axis Lokoja, drivers would have to divert. And coming to Ekiti is even worse. Okitipupa, all those Owo areas. There are no roads. You begin to wonder, is there any life in this place? You see the villages, the roads are cut off. People are just using maybe bicycles. So government really needs to partner with states, because roads are important for economic development and human mobility. And roads are the major means of transportation or movement for human and goods. You can see the number of trailers.
What's the percentage of people that fly in Nigeria?
That's what I'm saying. That is a major means of movement for human beings and goods. And you talk about tolls.
The rail system has collapsed.
Totally. If there's going to be any toll, it should be for those trailers. Those trailers are also the reason why our roads are like that. Because they come with 30 or 60,000 ton, load weight and or whatever goods they are carrying. And because our roads are not also built according to world specification standard, our roads are not built the way it should be, that with concrete. The only road in Nigeria that is built with concrete is that one that Dangote is building around your area. The cement, that cement at Obajana. That is the only, if all the roads
and in Nigeria. And they have something like that in Tigana land, right?
That from federal road.
It's ongoing now,
coming from,
especially in areas
the ports.
Of high rain density.
Yes,
you need
that kind of road. That is the standard road that Nigeria should have. Because if you have that, then maybe it's expensive, but you can choose a few, maybe the economic important roads that bring returns. If we choose maybe some and begin to, it will last even 50 years. Because what we are doing now is just to pour coal-tar, pour asphalt on sand. And by the time there is rain, 2-3 rainy seasons, the water that had gone into the soil beside the road will now start softening the roads, and you begin to see potholes. Then we're now talking about palliative maintenance, rehabilitation,
because they don't
expansion.
do those roads well.
They don't do them well.
If you
That's
look
what
at
I was about
Abuja
asking you,
Road,
Jude. I was about asking you now that, like Lagos Ibadan Express Road,
yes,
when it was built during the Obafemi Awolowo time, you could even see that.
No,
look,
you mean the express?
The express road.
No, it was in the 70s.
In the 70s, but it took 20 years or so before that road
began to
collapse. But you can say that, look, the quality of this road is quite different from what we see now.
It depends on what. See, when Julius Berger built the Kudirat Abiola Way and the Gondo Road, they told Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he should not expect to see any bump on that road until after 15 to 20 years. Go and drive on that Kudirat Abiola Way and see if you will see any pothole. You will not see.
Aregun Lake Bridge.
Yes. No, this one from
Clay Stop. Yeah.
Yes. Near Mr. This man's former house, opposite the testing ground.
Yes.
That road now. That road,
Yes.
Tinubu constructed that road back then. Those were two major roads that he constructed. That one cost
Christ Embassy and Co.
Yes, so that one and the Gondo Road. Till today, I remember Olabode George granting Temple an interview, claiming that road will be washed away within a few months. And the person who interviewed him at that time, said, you mean this kind of road will be washed out, a road built by Bagger and this and that? He said, just wait, you will see. That road has not been washed up.
No
Olabode George has been exposed as a doomsday prophet. The road is still there. When IBB was building Abuja roads, they said the roads were too expensive. Go to Abuja, the roads that IBB built back then, there are no potholes on them as we speak. Those Abuja roads, the best roads in Nigeria in Abuja, the best Nigerian road is the airport road in Abuja. The road that leads to the airport is the best in terms of the number of lanes and everything. But you know that it's a road built excellently and it's not going to give way quickly. So the quality of roads, and the same Julius Berger built Abeokuta Expressway, but it has collapsed. So it depends on
the brief.
Yes, what the quality of road that they give us. I want to believe that what they are building on that Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, even the height
Yes.
of the tar,
From Ibadan to Shagamu, the RCC, what they are doing.
What they
and
are
from
doing
Brega,
is the
from
same
Shagamu,
quality
yes.
because
Very good
you
one.
can measure
Yes.
the tar,
Yes.
you know,
They are even
and it's
scrapping,
concrete. They first put cement and stone, so it's also stone based before they now put the tar, and it's this high.
Yeah.
So you know that one will last as long as the drains are also excellently made. They will last. But most of the time we don't do those excellent roads because a lot of the money in Nigeria, the contract sums are the highest in the world, and the percentage that goes to kickbacks and the rest is so high, so that you don't have sufficient money to deliver the kind of quality road that will stand the test of time.
Let's look at the economic impacts of bad roads all over the country now. We're not just talking about one state, and we're not heaping the blame on anybody. But the bottom line is that to do business around the country is like hell. You can't move from one major city to another city. And even kidnappers, bandits, they take advantage of these bad roads to operate.
There's no doubt that bad roads have created a very hostile environment for business in Nigeria, because the cost of transportation and the duration of delivery because of bad roads they are really taking a toll on economic activities. Even in the rural areas, farmers cannot access markets, they cannot access depots where they need to go and supply their farm produce, because some of them are virtually or practically cut off because of roads. They don't have access to roads. Maternal rate is high. Maternal mortality rate is also high in the rural areas because of lack of access to accessing the town where there is healthcare delivery system. So we really need to tackle roads. And insecurity also. There are a lot of bad spots where you have to slow down practically. And criminals now capitalize on that to wait for innocent people. There are also issues of maybe trailers turning the block road. Cars are stuck in the mud because of flood. Flood may cover up huge pothole, and drivers may not see even in the day, and they run into that ditch, and innocent people die. So we could save a lot of lives from avoidable accidents if these roads are built, and federal government really need to partner with states. That is a way forward.
Jude, lasting solution. If Fashola is telling us this is what I have for the budget next year, and we expect him to go and conjure money from anywhere, how else can we fund our roads?
We must seek alternative means of funding. I think Sukuk is a good example of alternative funding for our roads.
That non-interest loan?
Yes, it has helped, not momentously, but it has helped. I think that we should look for other means of accessing funds. And one of the ways is through this PIP. We need to get big companies involved in building roads. We can give some of them tax holidays. For example, Dangote now building the Apapa Road.
Yes, yes.
We can give him incentivize road
I think they have an arrangement for that too.
Not just for him. There are others like him, other big players in the corporate world of our country that we can actually get them to fix critical roads. You know, banks did it. Oyinjola Emi on Victoria Island.
Yeah.
You can see that road. It's the banks. It's the banks that fixed the road with interlocks and all that, and you can see that road is very good. Yes. So we have to get big corporate players to get involved in helping us to address the problem of infrastructure decay that we have, not just on our roads, even in schools. We will not find the money. How they find me, my governor? He said something. He said, even if we don't admit it, the country is broke. This is the way I like people to say the truth. Because we can't continue to lie that everything is fine. We are broke. We can't find the money. The size of our budget alone, and the fact that even before the budget kicks off, is already in deficit, should tell us that we have issues. So this is the thing. Let's look for alternative means of funding this thing. Let's get the private sector involved. After a while, they will deliver. The private sector gave us MM2, which is the best that we have. That is where you go that you see a semblance of modern
sanity,
modern aviation structure and the rest.
And even decency in terms of...
Because when you go to other airports, even in smaller countries, you tell yourself that, why is it that everybody appears to have left Nigeria behind? But Togo, when you see that
Togo,
one,
they have a new airport.
When you see that one, at least you feel proud. This is the thing. Let us get the private sector involved in some of these things and give them tax holidays as a kind of incentive.
I think I have my first caller. Thank you for joining us. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Good evening.
Ruben, tell me about the roads around Delta State.
Yeah, the roads in Delta State are very, very bad.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Okay, it's not Ruben. This is Reverend Isaac calling from Delta State.
Okay, Reverend Isaac.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, please.
The roads in Delta State are very, very, very bad. I am based in Abraka. From Abraka to Agbo is bad. From Abraka to Saple, bad. From Saple to Benin, bad. So I appreciate what Mr. Babajide is talking about getting private sectors involved. But the question is, are these people not having people advising them with all the discussions that you people have on your program? Do they listen at all?
They listen. They do some of those things.
Government looks as if they are confused. They don't even know what to do. When you drive around, you know that we are in really big trouble. If it continues like that, then it is very unfortunate. How can our Fashola, how can he come up to tell us that the money they gave to him will not be enough?
He's just being real. That's the reality of ground.
Does he not have a consultant before coming out to come and tell us that news? That news is heartbreaking. That will even give somebody a big shock.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. Thank you for your contribution.
You know what I said sometimes? I said, look at, to show you that we should be ashamed of ourselves. This road, this Badagry road, is a super highway leading to even as far as Ghana. Okay. Where the Nigerian end of it, look at the Nigerian end of it.
Disaster.
You will shed tears. As soon as you get to Benin, you see a semblance of sanity.
Small Benin.
Small Benin.
Begging us
Benin
open
Republic,
Benin
Republic that is entirely
now.
dependent on us. Now, see their own, from their, once you
from
get
their
to
corridor.
their own corridor, you see the beauty of a good road. They don't have the kind of gullies that you see here. You are going to Lasso, maybe there is an event at Lasso. Instead of passing through that place, you want to go through
Yanoba.
all the corners that can lead you to the place. That's what you want to do, because an international road, our own portion of an international road, we have totally neglected. Our road, the main road that leads to our port, our main port, we allowed articulated vehicles to stand permanently on the road that was not designed to carry dead weight. And we allowed them to destroy those roads.
I have Mohammed too on the line. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for joining us. Mohammed.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Good afternoon.
Go ahead
Good
with
evening,
your contribution.
sir.
Good evening, Mohammed.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Good. I really appreciate for the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed.
I'm calling from Kogi State.
Oh,
Okay.
Tell us about the roads in Kogi.
Yes.
My former
in Kogi State road, especially the road is not even, you cannot even anywhere to be in any federal road that's even good at all. Let's talking about the road from Abuja down to Kene. which is consists of almost 27 states passing it in every day. The road is so much bad, and the federal government are not looking up to it. We talk about the road from Kaba down to Ilorin. Also, that one is also bad. So now we are hearing another thing else, that the money that they are allocated to the federal road is not enough. Then does that mean that we poor, we are not entitled to the best of the road?
Thank you, Mohammed. I think I get your drift. Thank you, Janet.
I think there is no state, local government that is spared from these bad roads. The deplorable state of bad roads has become a perennial, problem in the country. And all the time, every government comes to say no money, no money. When has there ever been money? When? But things need to be done. Things need to be done because you have to go and seek for this one, either by bond, either whatever way, bringing out.
Something must be done.
Yes, something must be done so that people can now pay tax.
Julie, there are some roads in the north. I've had to travel by roads. Let's say if you're moving from Kano to Katsina, it's not so bad.
No, they are
There's
even
a portion that is
doing,
bad.
No, it's usually bad, but they are doing a dual carriageway now.
Okay.
So I understand the point
As
that
in
you are
maybe
making.
the burden on the roads.
What you call bad
Uh-huh.
on southern highways. When you see northern highways, at least you say this ones,
Yes.
they are good. But there are some very deplorable roads even in northern Nigeria. That's why I mentioned no man.
Okay.
And of course the Jalingo Yola road at Mayobelo.
Niger State.
So they too have bad roads. Everywhere you have bad roads. No state is spared, as Janet said. No state is spared. We have allowed our roads to decay because largely we left the rail system. A lot of the goods that these trailers are moving around to damage our roads. In the past, they used to be moved by rail.
Yes.
Petroleum products, for example. Why should we move petroleum products in tankers? They should be moved by rail. It used to be like that.
All right. Still to come. 10 months after Supreme Court judgment, Ekiti State government orders relocation of Ilejemeji Council headquarters. Stay with us. It's a multiple award-winning program, Journalist Hangouts. We're reaching you from Television Continental here in our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. No doubt, Nigeria is complicated. It's a complicated federation. Hence, matters critical to national development and growth can become subject of complications. 30,000 naira was agreed as the new minimum wage. The bill to that effect was signed into law, while government and organized labor have reached an agreement on the consequential adjustment in salary thereto. Now, here lies the new complication in the lingering minimum wage question. The Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, has rejected the federal government's pact with labor, citing peculiarities of states as reasons. After a meeting in Abuja on Monday, the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, told newsmen that each state should be allowed to negotiate based on its capacity. Babajide, this is telling, when I further listened to Kayode Fayemi, he was not talking about the 30,000 naira minimum wage. That is like a given. The NGF, they're not disputing that. But the consequential adjustments that we've been talking about, famous levels 7 to 14 and 15 to 17, that was agreed by the Nigerian Labour Congress and the federal government. Don't forget, this is not a tripartite arrangement that they used in agreeing for the new minimum wage. The governors were not part of this arrangement. This was just between the federal government and the organized labor. Now, some labor leaders are saying that they should just do copy and paste across the states, while the state governors are saying, no, they can't. That what do we have on ground, let's do it according to our capacity.
You know, we saw this coming and we said, look, the real battle will happen when the states begin to talk with labor about what they can pay. everyone agrees that, yes, 30,000 naira as minimum wage. We've agreed on that. There was a tripartite, there were several meetings with the tripartite committee where this was agreed. By labor conventions, the federal government represents government. So naturally, whatever decision the federal government reaches is binding
on all layers of government.
On government as well as the private sector. Because the way it is, labor, then you have the private sector and government. So these are the three groups coming together. In this case, the federal government is the regulator. The Minister of Labor, for example, has a duty to ensure that everyone abides by the minimum wage law. And if you do not abide, he has every reason by law to institute court action against you. So it's a precarious situation that the federal government has found itself. The federal government must first begin to pay. It is when it begins to pay that others will now take a cue. But as we speak, even they too have not begun paying. A new minimum wage was due as far back as March 2016. We didn't do anything. We are in 2019 and we are approaching 2020. If we go by the law, which says every 5 years, you must come up with a new minimum wage, it then means that before we even implement this new minimum wage for maybe 1.5 years or so, we will be due for another minimum wage. And we are still here, still talking about this one that has not even taken off. So I knew from the beginning that state governments will have to negotiate this consequential adjustment on
Can you
their
tell
own.
us what of the percentage that was agreed? Do you have the percentage between Labour and federal government? The new percentage now?
No, well, at the beginning, I could talk about what they were arguing about.
Okay.
But when they then agreed, they just told us that they had reached an amicable solution.
Okay.
And when I read those stories, I didn't see
The exact
in concrete terms what was agreed. I don't know why that was the case. And Labour was also not openly saying this is what they agreed. But the truth is, most states will struggle to even pay 30,000, not to talk of the consequential adjustments. And in my view, the heavy hitters, those on level 15 to 17, they shouldn't really get much because this thing was not designed for them. The minimum wage was designed for the poorest of the poor in the labor force, level 1 to 6. So they shouldn't, because they are for them, for the states, if you make any significant increment on the wages of a level 15 officer, the ripple effect will make many state governments to want to say, why? So this is the thing. Let them negotiate with based on their capacity to pay. Yeah, that's inevitable. You can't force them to pay what they do not have. And remember, Carl Define said that before. That look, Nigeria has not got the money to pay. So, at state level, I expect that these meetings will begin anytime from now, and governors will be able to say, look, gentlemen, this is what we can pay. For a lot of the governors who are boasting that they can pay, I'm sure it's the 30,000 that they are talking about.
People weren't thinking about the consequential adjustments.
When they look at the financial implications of adding 5% or 10% to some people's wages, then they will see that this is really massive.
Janet?
The federal government was very tactical when it told Labour that what you demanded was minimum wage and we have given it to you. You didn't demand for general wage review. You understand?
Yes.
But maybe what Labour had in mind was 30,000 minimum wage, so it will now cut across. Because if you look at the percentage of that 30,000 minimum wage from 18 to 30, it's almost like for something.
66%.
No, it's not up to 50. If it were 50%, If it were
From 18 to
50%,
18 to
it would have been
18 to 30.
36,000.
Okay.
If it were 50%, it would have been
36,000.
No, if it were 100%, it would have been 36,000. Yes, that's times 2, which
Okay.
is 100. 100% would have been
Increment.
36,000. But they didn't give 100%, but they gave a lot, which is more than
Half.
yes. So government said we have a template already with this consequential adjustment or review. We have a template, so states will follow the template, but states are not mandated, you know, to follow that template if they don't have the means to pay it. So they are still going to come back to collective negotiation, and then that negotiation will be guided by the principle of ability to pay. If a state like Lagos has the ability to pay, it pays. A state like Yobe that is still struggling with insecurity, refugee problem, may not have that kind of money to pay because they are not producing or manufacturing anything. So it will now be based on some states, the ability to go for aggressive revenue generation. Investment from wherever source, you know, investment
Or
opportunities. Yes, or even cutting down on. So, and every staff worker will now come with a list of performance, your performance chart. Let us see what you have done. There will be evaluation. What have you been able to do in the last 5 years? You joined the civil service maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Let's have an evaluation. So you begin to evaluate ministry, what value have you, and what value are you even intending to also bring to the state. So by the time you go through all this evaluation, you see that half of those staff will be gone. If some of them are even said to be ghost workers. But that is not to say that they should not be paid. Those that are dedicated and are moving the revenue of the state forward should be compensated with good salary.
But when you look at, we are driving, we've gotten to a stage that we might be witnessing industrial actions from some of the states, because the labor leaders, from what I've gathered so far, they are not ready to back down. The impression and the intention is that it is 145 naira that they buy fuel per liter in Lagos, and they sell
They
it
also talk
across the
about
country.
the devaluation of the currency.
Yes. They are saying that inflation and everything across board, that they go to the same market with somebody that they are paying, that the people selling the market, they can't identify this is a federal government worker and this is a state government worker. Now we are going to have a lot of problem in those states, especially those states that they don't have the financial wherewithal.
No, whether we like it or not, there will be problems. And don't forget, even before now, some states were unable to pay the last minimum wage. There are some states.
18,000 naira.
Yeah, some states were unable to fully implement it. You know, so now it's gone to 30,000 minimum wage. What would happen? Will the states be forced to downsize? Because that is also an option. Maybe in negotiating with labor, some of those states will come up with that idea that, look, this is the only way we can pay. The only way we can pay is if we right-size the labor force. I believe that in most of the states, we have dead woods. We have people in the civil service who do not deserve to remain. We have situations in which there are just 10 cars to about 15 drivers in some agencies of government. So we can't continue like this. Something must give. Politicians don't want to lose power, so they don't want to take the big decisions like right-sizing.
And don't forget,
labor force. Yes.
some of these jobs at the local government and state level is used for like political patronage.
Yeah, they just
It's not
give
because
people
we
appointments
need,
because they need them for elections and all
it's
that.
not because we really need their
And that's,
productivity or anything.
that's why
Just-
they can't pay. That's why they can't pay. That's why they can't pay. So if you can't pay, what do you then do? You look at your labor force, reduce, get the dead woods out of the system and pay those who are worthy workers a living wage. Any state that after that still cannot pay a living wage to its workers does not deserve to continue to exist. This is my view.
Does not deserve to continue to exist. That's quite harsh. Moving forward now, it's never too late to do what is right, so long as it remains the right decision. 10 months after the Supreme Court put the nail on the coffin on the continued location of headquarters of Ilejemeji local government area of Ekiti State at Iye Ekiti, the state government has decided to right the wrong of nearly 2 decades. The state government, through the Deputy Governor, B.C. Egbeyemi, directed the council administration to facilitate the relocation of the headquarters from Iye Ekiti to Eda Oniyo, as it was gazetted at its creation on the 1st of October 1996.
On 14 December 2018, the Supreme Court panel of 5 justices, in a majority decision of 4-1, held as follows. 1. That by virtue of the laws which created the Ekiti State and her local governments, Eda Oniyo is the headquarters of Ilejemeji local government.
People I know them. There will be no problem from our side. And to our neighbors, we'll be friendly. We eat together, we drink together, we do things in common. So I don't expect, I don't envisage any problem.
Let's also share with you what Babajide said when the matter came up for discussion on the 30th of August.
Well, Governor Kayode Fayemi has no choice. This decision has been made by the Supreme Court. You just have to go ahead and implement it. Otherwise, we will not leave you alone. What we want to see in our country is a situation in which the courts give their decisions and other arms of government obey the decisions of the court. Otherwise, we'll have anarchy on our hands.
All right. General, what's it about this relocation of local government and what was gazetted in its state creation on the 1st of October 1996?
What is this all about? In 1996, under Decree 36, that local government was created during the federal military government. And so, a year after, the governor of the then Ekiti State, I'm sure he's retired now, his name is Inua Mohammed Bawa, was a colonel. He took the headquarters from and took it to Yekiti. From that moment, the people of Oniyo, they now went to court, requesting that it should be brought back. So December, the matter had been on and on and on. So in December last year, the Supreme Court now ruled that these headquarters were taken to Yekiti under no known law. There was it had no backing of law whatsoever. Yes, that it was, well, according to the Yekiti, the other people, that it was politically motivated. So there was no law backing it. So the Supreme Court now ruled that let it go back to where it was, the original state. That was in December. Then the Oba of Yekiti now went to court again after Supreme Court had ruled. Apex courts, which is supposed to be like the end. Process. That is supposed to be like end of discussion. He now went to court again to seek that the government should be stopped, restrained from carrying out the order of Supreme Court. I've never heard of this kind of
lawyers. It will be lawyers that will encourage them. It will be the lawyers. I will tell them they want to collect their fee, they will encourage them.
Yes. So the lawyers
Papa Lolo kind
of. So, but it's a good thing now that the government has taken a decision. The government said they have no option than to obey the order of the Supreme Court. And now they have told everybody involved, the commissioner for local government, the chairman and everybody.
That's the deputy governor.
Yes, the deputy governor, the corporate affairs in that area, corporate organizations, institutions, and other government functionaries to cooperate with government to relocate this so that there will be no chaos.
Julie, I know that your new states, they like going to court, they like writing petitions, they like doing all these things. I want to know,
we have talent for that.
How does this change the price of rice from the market? What is the strategic thing about state headquarters being in my domain?
No, there is no way to not improve the fortune of the state,
Okay.
of that area.
Okay.
People, local government staff will come and get accommodation in the area. Landlords will benefit, you know. And if because it's the headquarters of the local government often benefit from infrastructure development more than other communities. It's just like everywhere you go, you see that just like the same way we focus on state capital.
Yeah.
Once the funding comes, we make sure that the state capitals look much better than other places. It's the same way with the local councils. In any case, you can't begrudge them. It was their birthright. They gave it to them, and you, at the height of impunity, you took it away. And they exercised their right
to go to court. And they waited this long.
And the court gave it to them. And on this program, I challenged my governor. How they fire me?
Your new governor.
Said, yes,
I said, governor.
Yes, I said, it's even my governor now. I said, if you fail to obey this decision of the Supreme Court, we will not leave you alone. Because we do not want anarchy on our hands. People have gone to court. You must commend them. Because they could have resorted to violence. That's why the courts are there.
They saw it through the Supreme Court.
Yes. They won at the High Court, lost at the appeal, and then won again at the Supreme Court by a margin of 4-1. So they've done well. From 1996, they've been in court. The Ekiti State government waited for 8 months. I thought that was too long. If the highest court in the land, the final court in the land, gives a decision, there's no reason in the world to wait that long. And that was why we said, no, you can't do this. Governor Kayode, you can't do this. You can't allow this to happen. Because people will now rank you among the governors that are ill-reputed for promoting impunity. And as a gentleman governor, which is why I like him, he moved in quickly. He moved in quickly and said, okay, we're obeying the decision of the court straight away. And he mandated the deputy governor to have meetings with other people to determine the right location for the headquarters. That area, I'm telling you now, even communities around them, because they are close to Kwara, the border with Kwara, Obo, Araromiokmi, and all those, OC, all of those, they too will benefit one way or the other, because there's no way that there will be they won't get added infrastructure development.
Why did it take Ekiti State government 8 months? Because this is Supreme Court. Were they waiting for the court papers?
It's better
get
late.
it under 1 week.
It's better late than never. But
you are the one that told us about that. The person that even went to stall the verdict of the Supreme Court.
You know, it's even better late than never. I don't know why he waited that long. Maybe his godson, Babajide, will be able to answer why did your father wait so long? Anyway, that's on the line.
So he just needed to be reminded.
Yes, okay, that's good. But he said it would have been unconstitutional and illegal for him not to obey that court order. And he has done the right thing, whether it came late, well, it's okay. It's done now. The important thing is that it's done now. And the whole machinery of local government is moving to that place. And there will be economic activities. There will be value. When opportunities come, when there are slots for nominations for any position, they will go to that local government. Yes, those are the benefits of a local government.
I think the Nigerian Bar Association should do something about these lawyers when after Supreme Court, because there was a time...
What of the judges?
I don't know that why we even entertain.
Why should a judge even entertain that kind of matter? Because and he was even attacking the government of the day. That why did they hurriedly go and relocate? Something that had happened 8 months ago.
That is even late.
So I won't be surprised if you see that kind of judge, if the NJC moves against him now, they will say the NJC is wicked. Because what we have done is ridiculous. This matter is an abuse of court process. At the hearing, you should dismiss it with costs against the people who brought the matter before you. That is what you should do. Let them pay. Serve an exemplary lesson. Let it serve as an exemplary lesson that you can't bring frivolous matters before your lordship. So this is the thing. Let them, because I don't really know what the judge wants to achieve by even attacking the government that they should not have hurriedly relocated
After the Supreme
after
Court
8 months. So people waited for 8 months. You said why should they that the matter was in court? Are you bigger than the Supreme Court? Well, you see, in Nigeria, we've seen ridiculous things happen. Supreme Court will give judgment. Some politicians, because they have so much money and they think they can bribe judges, will now be telling the Supreme Court to review its own judgment.
Yeah, no, even interpret your own judgments.
No, no, interpret. Review. Review, Neil. It's not interpret. Review. Believing that, and Andy Oba did it now. Andy Oba didn't want to live with the fact that he had lost his plan to become governor of Adamawa. After, of Anambra. After Supreme Court gave judgment, Andy Oba told them he wrote to them that they should review that judgment, that he felt that the judgment was not good enough. Look at what happened. Appeal Court gave judgment against Rivers State. They did the same thing. They said gave judgment against Rivers APC. They went back to court trying to find a way to circumvent a judgment that had been given. And those guys now took them to the cleaners, abused them that, look, this is the height of impunity. Judgment has been given against you. You are looking for a way to get around the judgment. You will not succeed. There is no court that will look at his own judgment and say, no, we erred. Even if they made a mistake, it is permitted. They are human. They can make mistakes. Not that they will now go and reverse a judgment that they have given. No, nobody does that.
Yeah. I think lawyers, Janet, our lawyers, all in the bid to get this fee. They do everything.
They just encourage when they even see that it's a dead end. They collect.
No, they don't.
They want to urge you on. No matter how clinical the judgment looks like.
No matter how straightforward the judgment, they will still want to see. Because the clients will pay.
Yes, sir.
And you know, we've reached a point now that people believe that the judiciary is thinking and that, look, if you bring money, that the judiciary would do your bidding. You see, politicians, Nigerian politicians are very optimistic. They will convince you that, look, is it not money? Rather than even paying lawyers, they prefer to go and pay judges, believing that they will get judgment. But judgments should be based on the letters of the law, not how much an individual has in his pocket to give judges. So I commend the state government, or the state government, for taking this decision, because when we criticize, the essence of this program is to right the wrongs in our nation. If we criticize them for that delay, and they've taken concrete steps now to implement the judgment of the Supreme Court, we have to thank them. We have to commend them for taking that action. And other states too, that are selecting judgments of the court to obey, we need to tell them to change their ways, their evil ways.
Mrs. Mba Afolabi, thank you so much for your contribution today. And the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju, thank you so much. And that's our offering. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program, and also watch Journalists Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalists Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Bye for now. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.